Hello, hello, and welcome. My name is Angie Antoniak. I am a school social worker. I would like to take a moment for you to really think about when you are in communication with someone, whether it's a child, whether it's your child, whether it's a coworker, significant other, what you want that person to experience. Um, so, first, pick a person. Who do you want to picture? What do you want their experience to be when they are communicating with you? In one word, what do you want their experience to be? Okay, I hope you've had a chance to think about it, perhaps jot it down, um, or just keep that kind of word in mind. Um, an example from here at school, when I work with some of my coworkers, we talked about this question of what we want people to experience when they're in our building, when they're here at Marley Glen. Some of the words that came up in that context were acceptance. Um, we wanted people to feel welcomed, comfortable, safe. Somebody said warm. So, those were the kind of things that we were looking for when we talked about how we want people to experience our environment here. And so the reason I want you to think of this word or write this word down is because we, as the speaker, and we, as a part of a conversation, as a communicator, um, we make other people feel things, experience things. And we can see that on the other person's face, in their body language, in their response to us. Um, as parents and as caregivers, we have a tremendous amount of um, control over our communication. We are role modeling for our kids, and they're learning from us. They're learning more about what we do from watching what we do than the actual words that come out of our mouth. And you will find, and you may observe this when you're out at a restaurant or shopping or at a park, um, in a school, at work. Um, People bring an energy, people bring something to a conversation, and it will affect how that conversation goes. I think about this with my own children. If we are really intense and stressed and both communicating in that way, perhaps in a really loud tone of voice with tense bodies, um, it's going to increase the stress. And again, kids look to us as guides for, how should I feel about this situation? So I find myself, especially when I'm with young children or in a pre K classroom, the more gentle and calm I am, regardless of the chaos around me, the more it brings down that environment to be a positive, connecting, learning environment. And that's what often we want at home too, rather than if we meet our kids' anger, everybody's going to get angry, right? If we meet our own child's anger and frustration with anger and frustration ourselves, rarely, rarely does that settle down. More likely, it becomes more explosive. And it's often better to just even walk away and schedule another time to talk when both parties are feeling a little more calm. So, again, to bring it back to how we started today with that word, what do you want someone to feel when they're with you? Do you want them to feel happy and open and accepting and cooperative? That's another one, right? Important. It's going to start with role modeling calm and neutral. I often think of the concept of a mirror. Often, what we bring to a situation, especially with younger people, with kids, is what's mirrored back at us. And so, to be really aware of our tone and our body language and our facial expressions is very important. And I remember reading once a long, long, long time ago when my teenage young adult children were so little, um, was that a greeting, how you greet your child, your coworker, your partner, your friend. That first greeting sets the tone really for the day, or for your conversation or for your time together. And for us to be really aware of our greetings to one another, making eye contact, smiling, um, simply saying, I am so happy to see you today, can really start things off on a good note. Um, you may point out, wow, I'm feeling really good that you're here. I'm so happy. Do you see my smile? But again, it's a greeting. It's a good morning. It's a, I'm glad to see you. But to really, really kind of shape that greeting around a happy moment and a smile and a good morning or a good evening or a hello. Um, and one of the keys that I have to bring up as we're talking is this. These days, we all are in our phones and we are role modeling that. And for that first greeting of the day, with whomever it may be, to not be looking at a phone, to be making eye contact and smiling is really going to set you up, um, for some positives and some cooperation. So think of your greetings. Think of how you do that. How do you walk into your child's bedroom or when they walk into your bedroom? Start with a smile. And I'm glad to see you. Some other ideas, some other ways to go, along some concrete tips here. So we've talked about greetings. The other thing, so important, that is a positive, and the words that we use, a simple thank you to anyone in your world, really for anything. But gratitude has been shown to literally change the brain, from a state of discomfort to comfort and happiness. And so to point out something that someone has done that you are grateful for, and simply saying a thank you is a big deal and is really going to change that interaction, and change it for the better. Not that it was going to be a horrible interaction, but it really, again, sets things on a positive tone. And imagine being a little one, especially, a little child or a young child or a teenager, even, and being appreciated. So, hey, I really appreciate, the way you opened the door for me. Thank you. Or thank you so much for coming downstairs today. Um, or thank you so much for your smile when you came home. Um, or thank you for helping me clear the dishes without me asking. The simple process of saying thank you is a big deal, and it's a great way to compliment someone, a coworker. Hey, thanks for helping me with so and so today, whatever it might be. But we've talked about greetings, and we've also look, my fingers disappeared. We've also talked about thanking and gratitude, because that's a real positive, and a great way to start, even if you have a tough conversation with a child, even if that child has just done something that has made you feel really, really angry. It might be, thank you for stopping kicking the wall, or thank you for quieting your screaming. Whatever it might be, a thank you is a great sentence starter, with anyone. Another important piece of communication, again, even if we have to have a challenging communication where you are looking to teach your child a new behavior, the best way, hands down, research has shown, to teach a new behavior is to positively reinforce the behavior you want. I call this catch them being good. Um, if you're having an ongoing behavior issue, whether it's at bedtime, morning time, mealtime, homework time, your child refuses to do anything, bigger behaviors, screaming, kicking walls, whatever it might be, the best way for a brain to learn a new behavior is through positive reinforcement of the behavior that you want. Catch them being good. Hey, I really like how you quieted down and looked at a book instead of screaming. Hey, thank you so much for not calling your sister a bad name. Or the opposite of that, which is probably a little more effective, would be thank you so much for being kind to your sister. Again, that positive, and we incorporated the thank you. Did you notice that? That positive lights up a pathway in the brain like, oh, I'm supposed to do this more. Sometimes our positives have to be a little bigger. Hey, I noticed today that you finished all your homework before 5 p.m. Let's go pick out a treat. Let's go have a special walk. Let's go have a snack. I'm really proud of you for making that choice. And so then that child's brain lights up like, oh, so when I get my homework done, positive things happen. That's how learning occurs. That's how challenging behaviors change. And that's how we make connections with people. Along those lines, there is a certain way of phrasing things using the term when, then. And again, this works with people of any age. But what it does is it connects a behavior with a consequence, preferably a positive thing. When you put on your shoes, then we will go outside. Keep it short and sweet. When, then. The brain clues into that very quickly. What does my behavior need to be? What is the consequence? With our children, when there is something that needs to get done, we can either scream and yell, take out the trash, it stinks. But what's that usually going to get met with? Either the child's brain is going to be scared of the volume of the screaming, the child may get angry, the child may refuse to do it, the child may do it, sure. But we also might be creating a little fear. There's a lot of children where screaming is not effective and it's actually really scary and it sets the brain into a fear state. Rather than screaming, another option, again, another way to use our words to make a difference is to use when, then. Sweetie, when you take out the trash, then you can invite your friend over. Or when you take out the trash, then you can have some time on your tablet. But this notion of when then is so important and it clues into our brains, the way our brains are wired to link behavior and consequences. And it doesn't have to be yelling and it doesn't have to be negative, although it can be sometimes. You might have to say, when you use foul language, then you lose the privilege of watching YouTube. When then works beautifully. But that's another thing to consider practicing with your children. So we've talked about greetings. We've talked about saying thank you. We have talked about positive reinforcement and keeping, catch them being good. And then fourth, we just talked about using the sentence structure when, then. And I guess we started with the overall umbrella. I guess this is really important as well. So we had these 4 strategies, but the overall message is to stay calm and neutral and smile, because that will set the tone of your communication. And don't hesitate if you are feeling angry and frustrated and feel like that's spilling over. That's okay. That happens to all of us. That might be a time to pause a conversation and come back to it another time. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful whatever's coming next for you in your schedule for the day. Take good care.